way too many theories out there, including the ones you present in the book, and they probably won't all happen. So what do you think is the most likely thing to happen, like the most likely main things that could happen?
Well, absolutely. The greatest threat to contemporary civilization that I've uncovered in now almost a decade of research is the threat to the electrical power grid by solar storms. This is the reward and also the punishment of looking into 2012 from a variety of angles, anywhere from metaphysical to scientific. This is going to happen. It may have nothing to do whatsoever with the year 2012. It may, because again, the end of 2012 is the beginning of the solar climax, the beginning of the red zone of storms from the sun that are going to hit us. There's nothing that parallels this in importance, in likelihood, or in terms of my personal mission, if you will, to protect us. Let me give you a little history on how I got involved in this, and then it will show you. I'm the former chairman of an advanced plasma physics research company headquartered in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And one day in late 2004, the principal scientist, Roger Remy, came up to me and said, "Larry, the sun is making mayonnaise." I'm like, "Shut up, Roger, what does that mean?" But in his French, Israeli, Algerian, I don't know exactly what sort of a mixture this guy is, but in his argot, the sun is making mayonnaise meant that the sun is having a breakdown, is in turmoil, is behaving erratically. And of course, the last thing anybody wants to worry about is the sun. The sun is the greatest constant in human history, greater even than God, because some people don't believe in God. Everybody believes in the sun. And the sun shows up every day, whether even if it's cloudy, the sun is there. So it's the last thing anybody wants to worry about. You might fear its rays to burn you or to be too hot, but you don't expect it to change. So mostly to shut Roger up, I went onto the NASA and European Space Agency websites one evening and saw that indeed the sun was behaving more tumultuously, that since the middle of the 19th century, it had been acting up, and particularly over the last few decades, it had been acting up pretty severely. Perhaps this was cyclically predictable, perhaps not. I didn't know at the time, and I'm not sure anybody really can say, but it was on a hot streak. And the only thing that everybody seemed to agree upon was that the next climax of this activity would be in 2012, as we now know, late 2012. So on impulse I Googled 2012 and fell down this rabbit hole of New Age beliefs and very, very colorful stuff, but not my cup of tea, But I saw at the bottom of it was this really rockin' ancient Mayan astronomy, not astrology, astronomy, just pure hard science conducted without so much as a lens, much less a satellite or a telescope or a computer that we have today. And just by the naked eye, those folks could predict eclipses and the transits of Venus and the movement of planets through the sky, and also the movement of the solar system around the galaxy, which was astonishing to me. And when I looked at on the internet, it said, the ancient Maya predicted 2012 will either be the beginning of time or the end of time, but something big. But just because it says so on the internet doesn't mean that that's what the ancient Maya actually believed. I mean, just somebody wrote it, and then, as so often happens on the World Wide Web, people just read it and then reproduce it at their own blogs, and it becomes a quote-unquote fact, and I will not take those quotes off. So I went down to Guatemala to work with some Mayan shamans who themselves had done their due diligence. I like people who do their research. This is what I like in life. I'm a recovering nerd, and I'll never recover. These guys, Carlos and Gerardo Barrios, themselves spent 20 years talking to other Maya shamans, sages, and elders throughout the former Mayan kingdom to find out just what the prophecies were about 2012 and anything else. And they found that 2012 does indeed figure prominently as not the time when God is going to throw the great off switch in the sky, but genuinely as an apocalyptic date in the true sense of the word, which means the lifting of the veil to reveal a terrible and important truth behind. It doesn't mean that we're all going to die or that the earth is going to stop spinning or any of that stuff, but it does point to it as an avalanche date, a real pivotal time. And I asked, well, can you tell me what's going to happen? You know, and they said, no, we can't tell you what's going to happen because we don't know, and if we did, we probably wouldn't tell you anyway because you're some, you know, they're not too inclined to, white guys coming down from the United States messing with their secrets. They've had kind of trouble with that in the past, you know, so. But they shared this analogy. It's the birth of a new era, 2012 would be, and like any other birth, it's full of joy and blood and pain. Now, the joy I wasn't so interested in because you don't have to prepare for joy. Joy is great. If joy comes, we'll be happy. Blood and pain, on the other hand, that's something that you want to defend against and prepare for and know as much as you can about it. And I realized at the time I had two young kids, 3 and 6, and I realized it made me look and say, you know, I'm in my 50s, I want another 50, you know, but if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. I've had a great life. But when you have young kids and somebody says that blood and pain is on the way on a massive scale, it focuses your attention, focused my attention like nothing ever had. And I don't know if it's just coincidence, but that prophecy, and combined with the contemporary scientific fact of the solar climax of 2012, led me ultimately to find that the electrical power grid is at risk, and our civilization is at risk. And again, it's not just according to me. National Academy of Sciences, NASA, Parliament in London, the Oak Ridge National Laboratories all agree, and more is coming in every day. So, I don't know, the ancient Maya said that the behavior of the sun would, in 2012, cause or lead to an apocalyptic revelation or event. And I can't think of anything more apocalyptic than losing our electricity for a year. I mean, I suppose it could, but this is what's on the table, and this is the powerful coincidence, and this is what has shaped my life.